meet the starting lineups. For Navy at forward, a 6'6" junior from Floyd Knobs, Indiana, number 40, Carl Liebert. For Duke at forward, a 6'5" senior from Drury, North Carolina, number 12, David Henderson. For Navy at forward, a 6'7" senior from Beltsville, Maryland, number 51, Vernon Butler. For Duke at forward, a 6'8" senior from Scottsdale, Arizona, number 32, Mark Allery. For Navy at center, a 6'11" junior from Woodbridge, Virginia, number 50, David Robinson. For Duke at center, a 6'8" senior from Rolling Hills, California, number 21, Jay Billis. For Navy at guard, a 6'6" senior from Lebanon, Oregon, number 5, Tyler Whitaker. For Duke at guard, a 6-foot junior from Falls Church, Virginia, number 4, Tommy Amaker. For Navy at guard, a 6'1" junior from Wheeling, West Virginia, number 10, Doug Wojcik. For Duke at guard, a 6'2" senior from Washington, D.C., number 24, Johnny Dawkins. And introducing the head coaches for Navy in his 6th season, Paul Evans, and for Duke in his 6th season, Mike Krzyzewski.
And so the road to Dallas, one furlong away for one of these ball clubs to join two teams already earned that right yesterday. Back to the tip in a moment.
They must get off to a good start. They must keep Duke on the perimeter against their 2-3 zone. They must limit turnovers. Normally those turnovers against Duke end up in fast breaks. They must be able to pound the ball inside, get to the free throw line.
All right, on the other hand, what are the keys for Duke?
They've got to shut down Butler and Whitaker. They got to get to the offensive boards. That was the key against DePaul. Pressure, force turnovers, and penetrate the gaps in the zone.
And so we're ready to go in this East Regional Championship. The right to join LSU and Louisville has already made it. And of course, a game later today between Kansas and North Carolina State. Robinson against Billis, and Vernon Butler will track it down for the midshipman. Wojcik is going to have to handle the pressure. He's going to be able to put the ball on the floor. That is the big question, and not have it taken away.
Vernon Butler will be very important right here in the high-low set. He'll be a passer looking to get it inside.
He threw that one away, intended on the baseline for Liebert. Paul Evans not happy with that start.
Duke will be in their familiar man-to-man zone defense. On the other hand, Navy will be into a 2-3 zone. Vernon Butler in the middle. Look at Allery trying to get the ball inside, attacking the basket.
Henderson, this is the guy that Coach Krzyzewski says has not really had a typical game in the NCAAs. He's looking for him to explode. That's not the way he wanted to start. Robinson brings it down.
Well, on the first possession, Navy did exactly what they wanted to do. It was all perimeter passing from Duke, a shot, and no offensive rebound.
Here's Robinson. And Mr. Robinson has the midshipman on the scoreboard. Everybody's calling him Mr. He's earned the respect. Steal attempt by Wojcik. Henderson into Allery, stripped, and Wojcik saved it in, and then it's regained by Allery, and we're going to have a foul. Foul will go on Navy.
Navy did a nice job there forcing a loose ball. Carl Liebert looked like he was running away from the ball that time, Gary. He's got to go back and get the ball before he worries about trying to get into a fast break situation. But good interior defense there. Nice hands by Vernon Butler to knock that ball loose.
Liebert committing the foul. Amaker, beautiful pass, but it's intercepted. Billis couldn't hang on. Liebert reached in and came up with it. They had the right idea. They want to penetrate, get into the gaps against that zone.
They really look for this high-low situation. Whitaker with the outside jumper. Duke has to make him put the ball on the floor, Gary. He's an excellent stand-still shooter.
Well, was it Krzyzewski said we can't let it get his feet set. And there is Amaker missing, but Henderson on the follow. And it's even at 2. David Henderson has, through this year, played his best games in the big games. And obviously, this is a big game. Whitaker had 23 points in that win against Cleveland State to go with 10 assists. And they don't want him starting off with a hot hand he had the other night. And that one is thrown away. Whitaker says Dawkins touched it, but the officials do not agree. 3 turnovers now against Navy.
Here's what Duke did so well the other night against DePaul. The outside jumper didn't go, but there's David Henderson on the offensive board. And, Gary, that's one of the keys we mentioned. Navy just cannot give up second shots to this Duke Blue Devil squad.
It's tied at 2. Henderson will kick it off to the All-America Dawkins. Rebound. Billis tips it off to Henderson. And Henderson gets a roll. Henderson, a second-team All-ACC pick. He's had some brilliant performances.
I'm sure this is the day that Mike Krzyzewski would love to see David Henderson break loose in the tournament.
And it goes to Robinson, and Henderson commits the foul. That will be the first on Duke.
Duke plays a team concept on defense. You see Billis behind David Robinson right now. When he catches the ball, look how they dive in on the post. They're going to collapse and try to force him to kick that ball out. David Robinson cannot put the ball on the floor. That's where turnovers will be created.
They want to tire Robinson also. They feel he cannot play a full 40 minutes. He has to coast a little, but right now he's not coasting.
That same inline out of bounds play is the one that beat Cleveland State the other night in the last 5 seconds. They float him to the middle of the floor, lob to him. He goes up and just knocks the jumper in.
Doug, you know what's coming, but you can't stop it.
Well, he's just so big.
There's another foul on Liebert as he pushes on Billis on the baseline. That will be the second on Carl Liebert, the junior out of Floyd's Knobs, Indiana. When he grew up, he used to go in his backyard and pretend he was playing the Louisville, Indiana game, shooting baskets, playing for one side or the other, growing up in the southernmost part of Indiana.
I'm sure being from Indiana, Indiana always won his imaginary ball games.
His dad, on the other hand, played at Louisville with Wes Unseld, so maybe that was up for contention. 17 minutes to go in the first half, 4 apiece. There is Robinson going to the steal. Dawkins. Rebound, David Robinson. Duke is an excellent shooting team, but here in the early going, not hitting the shots that characteristically would go for him. They're 2 of 6.
Wojcik doing a nice job now handling the pressure. He is not forced to turn over yet.
There's Robinson. That's going to be a charge. Amaker drawing the charge. And that is going to be a bone of contention throughout this game. If they're going to call this foul, Robinson could be in trouble.
Amaker, it looks like he flopped a little bit there to me. It was a little bit of a light contact, but if they're going to force that kind of foul today on David Robinson, he's going to get 3 quick ones because Duke does a nice job in their help defense, coming over, sliding in, and trying to take that charge.
Now Robinson wonders if it'll be consistently called. That's the thing you wonder about, is Robinson picks up the first. Joe Forte, Dick Paparo, and Tom Finkel are officials. As Henderson has really started Duke off well. He has all 6 of the Blue Devils' points. David Robinson is fouled out of only 3 games, but he's been in foul difficulty a lot of this tournament.
You know, if you're Paul Evans, though, you want David Robinson picking up his fouls on the defensive end of the floor, not on the offensive end of the floor. He wants to get him going after his shot.
There's Whitaker, and he's not off to the start he was against Cleveland State. It will be off of Duke. I'm sorry, off of Navy. Duke will have the ball. Amaker will inbound. There's Mike Krzyzewski, the UPI National Coach of the Year, the Coach of the Year of the ACC.
I'm sure this sort of feels like Mike Krzyzewski's going back in time. He was a successful Army player and the Army coach, and here he is facing Navy again, trying to get to the Final Four.
Shot by Allery from outside. Liebert tries to tip it. Dawkins comes up with it. Billis inside. He follows again, and Butler comes out of there.
Oh,
missed opportunity.
Jerry, not a good sign for Navy, though. 4 cracks at the basket before, excuse me, that Duke got 4 cracks at it before Navy was able to get possession.
Wojcik picked up his dribble, has to get it off to Liebert, and will have a foul on Allery from behind. And if the early stage of this game means anything, they're calling this one very close as Allery picks up the foul. You mentioned Krzyzewski. He was 4-1 as a coach against Navy when he was at Army, and he wanted us to know that he never lost to Navy when he was playing at Army.
I really enjoyed the press conference yesterday. Mike Krzyzewski and Paul Evans, they really exhibited a lot of class and had fun with each other.
Inside, and he missed it. Liebert missed the easy shot. Both teams showing maybe a little tension in the early going, missing the easy shots.
Well, I thought Liebert played very tight the other night against Cleveland State early in the game. You already see it today. He's had 2 turnovers and missed an easy layup. Look for Paul Evans to go to his bench.
Dawkins doesn't get it. Allery with a fine follow tip. Allery, an all-ACC performer. He's had a splendid year for Mike Krzyzewski's team. 8-4 now. Duke, you see the rebounds, and that's what Doug was talking about. The early going, not going the way Navy'd like to have it. Here's Allery on the steal. Allery can play inside. He can play outside. Amaker. He missed an easy one. Butler on the floor will have a held ball, and it will go to Duke. Duke will have the basketball as now 2 substitutions. Danny Ferry will be checking in, as will Billy King. And we're going to take a break. 14:48 to go in this first half. Duke leads by 4. Bender along with Doug Collins. Doug startingly, look at this. 14 attempts already for Duke, only 5 by Navy.
That's because of all the multiple shots they're getting off the offensive board. They have 6 offensive rebounds. Most of those have been second chance opportunities for baskets. But right now, the zone defense that Navy's in, they're not blocking out people. They're sort of blocking out areas, and Duke is very quick, and they're getting in those gaps, and they're getting on the boards.
You mentioned Liebert being very tight. He's come out of the ball game now. Derek Turner, number 24, a freshman, has checked in for the midshipmen.
He gives them a little more size along the front line, a better rebounder.
Dawkins changing. King can't handle it. Navy will have it, and I still feel both these teams just haven't gotten into their game yet. They're both very shaky in this early going. 3 turnovers against Duke. Now Wojcik, watch to see if he'll pick up that dribble. That's the thing that he's got to watch very carefully. They'll trap him in a hurry. Here's Robinson, and he's fouled. Billy King coming over the back. And so King will commit his first foul. 3rd team foul against Duke. I don't think there are any ships at sea today. All the Navy personnel's here.
Great entry pass. That time, Billy King was slow getting over to seal off the baseline. He picked up the foul, but that's the way David Robinson must go to the basket with authority, because he's going to be challenged by not necessarily a big front line by Duke, but a quick jumping team.
Robinson hits the free throw. Navy is not a good free throw shooting team. Robinson has picked up his stats a little bit in the tournament. He's shooting 63 for the year. He has scored all 5 of Navy points, looking for number 6, and has been characteristic of him all game long. He hits the first and misses the second so often.
Again, I feel, Gary, that's a concentration factor, because late in the ball game the other night when he needed them both, he got them both.
Looking for the gap. Doctor steps in, gives it to Aller, and we're going to have a foul. That's that gap that you want to penetrate if you possibly can. As picking up the foul was Derek Turner. It'll be his first.
So many teams make mistakes when they play against a zone. I say they play east to west. They don't get anything going to the basket. Johnny Dawkins, with his quickness, when you slash the gap of a zone like that, you pull 2 people to you, then you can dish to an open man.
You also got Robinson thinking what he should do back there. Here's Allery from outside. Robinson blocked off, but Dawkins very alertly comes up with a rebound and the 2 points. Robinson had him sealed off, but Johnny Dawkins, who's an excellent rebounder for a guard, was able to score.
Well, the other night, he was the leading rebounder for Duke against DePaul. I think he had about 6 or 7 offensive rebounds.
And it comes to Robinson, and that foul will go on Ferry. Danny Ferry trying to come up his back. He commits the foul, 4th team foul. One thing about Dukeville, they have some versatility. They can spread those fouls out.
They can. I think one interesting thing to point out, one of the things Navy has done so well in the tournament is they've gotten into the bonus very early in the half. That's 14 fouls already. We've only played about 6.5 minutes, so if they can keep getting it inside, they'll shoot a lot of free throws here in the first half.
Wojcik, who sometimes looks a little too slow, but at the end of the game, he'll have 8 to 10 assists. Very integral part. Gets it off to Robinson. Robinson just spectacular to watch. We've said it many times, a young Bill Russell.
Isn't it amazing how a player can go through the year and be spectacular, and until he gets in the NCAA tournament, no one really knows anything about him. Now they're touting him as the best player in the country, and he's captured a lot of people's hearts.
Allery misses again. Robinson with a rebound. Robinson has all 7 of Navy's points. They can cut it to 1. Wojcik gets it inside to Butler. Butler's so strong. A workaholic in the lane. He tries to drive, and he'll have a blocking foul this time on Billy King. That'll be his second. 15 foul. Butler, when he gets the ball inside, you're just not going to take it away from him.
Well, he leans in very nicely. This is what he likes to do. Watch it. He leans into you to draw the contact. He puts the onus on the official to call either block or charge, and we see Billy King right there. He felt it was a charge.
Butler is one of those guys that always seems to get the job done. It's a blue-collar phrase you always use. You don't look at him as a spectacular player, but, oh, he's so integral to this team.
Well, to be a part of a great team like Vernon Butler is, you have to be able to play a certain role. He's a very complimentary type player to David Robinson, because when Robinson gets all the attention, he just sort of meanders around over there on the offensive board, and at the end of the ball game, you look around and you see, 19 points and 8 rebounds.
One of those counterattacks.
That's right.
2-point lead now for Duke. 12:53 to go in the first half.
Oh, charge.
No, they're going to have traveling. Instead, Dawkins traveled. Wojcik jumped under him, and Dawkins turns the ball over. That's the fourth. Henderson will come back in. Billy King will leave. Allery is going to leave as Billis comes in. Again, it shows you the flexibility that Coach K has. He can alternate those guys and really can spread the fouls out and, of course, give them the breather they need. 12:45 to go now.
Gary, I think the point we should make out that where Duke is the toughest is when they make that guard pick the dribble up and close down defensively to cut down passing lanes.
Robinson had a wide open shot, but he didn't get anything. Dawkins on the move. Robinson rejected. He's been averaging 6 blocks a game, which is tops in the nation. Wojcik will kick it off to Whitaker. He needs to hit one. That could get him started. It's now 12-10 in favor of Duke.
The excitement created by the block of David Robinson. He makes an outstanding block against Johnny Dawkins, and then Whitaker goes down and hits an inspired jump shot. Let's see how this changes the game.
10-10 as Henderson outside. He forced that one. Dawkins, boy, he does a good job inside. Ferry tries to follow. Robinson's committed his second foul. Now the question is, Doug, will Evans take him out, you think, for a while?
I don't believe so. I think he's got to go with his horse right now. He's in a point, but Johnny Dawkins, again, on the offensive boards is the one that caused all this. David Robinson, I didn't really see the foul there, but David Robinson today, very animated. He's expending a lot of energy.
Here is Dawkins from outside. Now it's a 12-10 lead for Duke with 11:53 to go in the first half.
See, that's the importance of Duke being able to draw an offensive foul against David Robinson. All of a sudden, he gets one on the defensive end, one on the offensive end. Now he's in a problem where if he picks up that other one, he's in big trouble.
Whitaker hit that last shot off to Robinson. He has to be careful on that play. He could have picked up another foul, but you saw his body control. He has 9 of Navy's 12. Mr. Robinson. Allery jumping across the middle. Air ball. Butler brings it off to Whitaker. Whitaker with nobody down to rebound. That was not a good shot to take. Danny Ferry will bring it out. 6'10" freshman out of DeMatha High School.
Let's see if Duke can get something on the inside. They've shot about 4 or 5 perimeter jumpers. They need to get it inside to Allery. Maybe he can force that third foul against Robinson.
Paul Evans thought Henderson had traveled with the ball. Ferry missing. They're taking some shots right now I don't think they want to take.
They're playing right now in the Navy's hands. This is exactly what Navy wants.
That was a feed that was too tall even for David Robinson, and Wojcik has committed a foul. Wasn't a bad foul because Dawkins was further up the court. He had an easy 2.
Good point. If he had not committed that foul, that was an easy layup for Duke. But Doug Wojcik trying to throw the alley-oop pass from about 50 feet that time, and it was just too hard off the glass. David Robinson had no chance to get that one.
Wojcik committing his first personal foul. You get the feeling, Doug, that right now Duke is a little impatient. They're a little nervous about this and haven't gotten where they want to be offensively.
I think they're feeling the pressure right now. They're supposed to win this basketball game. Right now, Navy should be very loose, realizing that really there's no pressure on them right now.
They're going to be in the 1-and-1 now. That's the 7th team foul against Navy. Committing the foul was Turner, his second. Well, when you're the hunted team, when you're the top dog, as they like to say, there's some extra pressure that goes with it.
That's absolutely true. And I saw a Duke team the other night play with a lack of emotion against DePaul, almost like they were doing a journeyman-like job. They didn't really have the fun that you're supposed to have when you get to this point. And I think that's because they realize they're supposed to be in Dallas next weekend.
Allery in the game against DePaul was 9 of 9 from the free throw line. You can see he's just an excellent free throw shooter. And the senior from Scottsdale, Arizona, gives Duke a 2-point lead.
He was one of the few players who shot well the other night against DePaul. He was 9 for 9 from the free throw line in the ball game on Friday night.
Here's Wojcik. Dawkins on him as it goes baseline to Whitaker. Whitaker has it deflected. Turner follows with a power move. Derek Turner out of Burton, Virginia, a freshman who started the first 9 games of the year for Navy. Lost that starting role, but has come off the bench to be very effective. 14 apiece. Baseline, Phyllis, and Vernon Butler has committed the foul. Let's go back to this last play by Derek Turner.
This is what he gives his team, a little more athletic ability than Liebert. He picks up the loose ball, doesn't put it on the floor, a nice power move, and he gets the roll, but Derek Turner could be a real key off the bench today for Navy. He's a better rebounder, gives them a little bit more size and athletic ability. He needs to be in there for Navy to be successful today.
However, they need to keep him off the free throw line. He's a 28% free throw shooter. That's the one area he's got to work in. Here is Billis. Billis doesn't get it. Turner tried to keep it alive, and Duke will reload. 10 minutes to go now. First half, 14 apiece.
Danny Ferry, a good perimeter shooter. He's looking for the jump shot.
And he tries to skip it through. Robinson has it, and that'll be a foul on Ferry over the back of Derek Turner. That's how Robinson can be so effective, Doug. Those are things that aren't in the scoreboard or in the box score, because the change shots in a defensive play like this.
When he gets his arms up, he gets nice reaction there. I thought a foul was committed before that, but finally the foul on Danny Ferry.
Robinson helping select the foulee out. We'll be back. It's all even at 14.
Pontiac. The red job over there, Pierre.
Ah, Italian, monsieur. Huh?
Picked it up in America.
First half, it's even at 14. Neither team shooting very well, especially Duke. And look at the rebounds as you pick up this reject shot by David Robinson.
Well, here's two All-Americans going at it. Johnny Dawkins challenging David Robinson. David Robinson checks the shot nicely. It starts a Navy fast break, and that's where Kyler Whitaker was able to spot up in the corner and get his first jump shot.
If Navy could get on the offensive boards, Doug, they could really do something this game. They have not picked up one offensive rebound. Duke has 9.
Well, the rebound advantage 18-6 right now for Duke, and you said 9 offensive rebounds, so half of the rebounds coming on the offensive glass.
Duke has taken 10 more shots than Navy thus far. Robinson. Billis rips it out of there, the senior out of Rolling Hills, California. Started out the year hurt, has had to battle back into this lineup, but he has given him some real toughness inside. It's tied at 14. Dawkins, there's that gap. Out it comes to Amaker. Amaker was 0 for 5 in the first half Friday night and not shooting well this afternoon.
There's another offensive rebound. Tommy Amaker. That's 10 offensive rebounds now for Duke.
Butler are coming outside, though, in all fairness to Navy, where Robinson could be ineffective. Now this one is ripped down, and Allery showing his strength, and Robinson almost picked up his third foul.
Well, 11 offensive rebounds now, 2 on that occasion. Gary, when you talk about the ball kicking back long, that's where the Navy guards have to get back and pick up those long rebounds. They can't cheat out on the break against this Duke team.
Here's Wojcik. He won't shoot very often, but he hit it. Wojcik this year averaging just over 5 points a game. Duke has 10 second chance points. Navy 0, because they don't have any rebounds. 16 apiece. Another steal by Robinson. Boy, he just alters everybody's game. He's had 30, 35-point games, 22-point game, 9 block shots Friday, leading the nation in rebounding and block shots, and he just funneled that one in.
Great play there by Doug Wojcik. Johnny Dawkins normally puts terrific ball pressure. That time he gave Doug Wojcik the time and the eye contact to be able to pick David Robinson alley-oop to the basket. That was a beautiful play.
I've heard of tough passes, but touch shots? That's exactly what that was. Second lead of the game now for Navy. This zone of Navy is tough. Henderson will try one. Rebound, Whitaker.
That's what I was talking about. Kyler Whitaker went back in and attacked the boards and got the rebound. He has enough size, Gary, to go in and be a presence on the board.
He is 6'6". Derek Turner will replace Liebert. It's been a good substitution into Butler. Missed it. Robinson did not. First offensive rebound, and it went for 2. Allery missing. Billis has it. He missed it. They know Robinson's in the vicinity. Allery then gets one off the glass. Good tenacity by this Duke team. When you're not shooting well, you got to keep battling, and they're doing that.
I really give Dave Robinson a lot of credit, too. He's picking his spots when he goes for shots. He's not trying to block everything, or otherwise he'd have his third foul by now.
Turner intended for Robinson. It's hit the glass instead. Butler's got it. Whitaker. They lean in by Kyler, and that'll be a charge on Kyler Whitaker. That's his first personal foul.
Well, let's look at the first offensive rebound of the game. To say it's spectacular would be an understatement. Look at the timing on David Robinson. He gets it below the rim and still has the presence and the ability to go up and dunk it home with 2 hands.
You know, sometimes, though, Navy forgets to go to their guy who is so automatic. On that last play, Whitaker could have very easily laid the ball off.
Also, too, against this Duke team, you've got to go up vertically. You can't go horizontally. They'll step in and take the charge. You must pull up and take the jumper.
Here's Amaker, and he hits one. Amaker's first 2 points. And we're even at 20, 6:20 to go in the first half. 7th tie of this game. Wojcik off to Whitaker. You see Ferry playing tough on Robinson inside. Doing a good job of fronting David Robinson, and they almost had the lob there, but didn't quite get it going. Here's Robinson, too tall, and can he hang on? He cannot. That is 8 turnovers against the midshipmen.
That was a tough angle on that pass by Wojcik. We can see, Gary, in that possession, they like to run Butler up high, swing the ball, and then let Robinson float to the basket. Butler was not able to see him, although David Robinson, I thought, was open.
They had one earlier that looked better, but they elected not to take it and then tried the difficult one. Here's Allery. He can shoot from there. Mark Allery, his great maturity, 4 years in this program, really evident here this afternoon. He's playing with confidence. Duke by 2. Vernon Butler, and he overshoots. That's not the Vernon Butler we've seen. He usually nails that one. Amaker with Wojcik back. He leans in, and that's another charge on Tommy Amaker.
And we look at Doug Wojcik. He is exhausted right now. He's bringing the ball up the floor against Tommy Amaker the whole ball game to get him in their offense and doing a good job of it. That time taking the offensive foul, he'll shoot a 1-and-1, but that young man is going to be tired when this ball game is over.
Well, the interesting point is, as we see Nate Bailey coming into the ball game, the interesting point in this game is that Wojcik is having to put the ball on the floor. Now, when they played against Cleveland State, they didn't want to do that, and you don't expend the energy when you're playing the pressure defense.
You pass over the top of a zone defense against a man-to-man defense. You sometimes, or you most times, have to beat it with the dribble. Really, Doug Wojcik is the only man on this Navy team capable of doing that, so he has the total responsibility of getting them into their half-court offense.
Boy, he took a long time to go to the free throw line, getting every precious second he can. He's a good free throw shooter, but he's just tired.
That's why he missed that free throw. He is tired, as you said, and he tried to get a little bit of a rest there, but just not enough.
Well, that'll be a big story to watch. Navy last year had Maryland beaten in the second round, only to run out of gas. Guys like Wojcik just couldn't stay in there stamina-wise. Billy King on the follow. And it's a 4-point lead by the top-ranked team in the country.
Let's see if they run their high-low set this time. Try to maybe get the ball into David Robinson. Look for the high-low from Whitaker, maybe to Robinson.
There's Whitaker, tough shot. Duke is on an 8-0 run right now. Navy's missed a couple of easy shots. Dockett steps in. Followed by Allery. Mark Allery is carrying this team right now in the last 5 minutes. Paul Evans wants a timeout. A 10-0 run by Duke. And the Blue Devils now enjoy a 6-point lead. 4.5 to go in the first half. 10 unanswered points. They lead 26-20. We talked about Wojcik being tired, but I also get the feeling that right now Duke has Navy taking some shots. A moment ago, Whitaker shouldn't be taking.
Well, Mike Krzyzewski told us yesterday that he wanted Navy improvising on offense, not being able to run their half-court offense, but forcing guys to do something they're not comfortable doing. Whitaker did it that time, took a tough shot, and Duke was off to the races.
Wojcik got a breather. It looks like he's revived a little bit. Derek Turner will duck inside, and he is fouled as he made his move.
No basket.
The basket will not count. And at the 4:26 mark, Turner, who is a very poor free throw shooter, will be going to the line. Billy King committed his 3rd foul, so he's the first in to get into foul difficulty. Turner, we mentioned, is shooting only 28%. He's 11 of 40. He looks at that ball like he doesn't like it. And he missed it. Robinson got it. And he'll reload it. And he doesn't get that. Dawkins up to Ferry. Tough shot, and Ferry's equal to it. That's tough for a big man to pull up like that and hit it.
Well, he did, and if he hadn't, he would have picked up the foul. But Navy right now, this is a very, very important possession. They got to get the ball to David Robinson. He's the only man who's now giving them any scoring.
Biggest lead of the game. This is Cliff Reese, who's checked in, number 44. That's not his shot. They are not set well, but Robinson will be able to erase that error.
Well, they needed that one. That's only their second opportunity on the offensive board. They have 4 points off the offensive boards. On the other hand, Duke 15 offensive rebounds for 16 points.
Robinson with 15 points himself. Dawkins from outside. Robinson rips it down. Now Robinson, he is taking his time getting up the floor. He cannot play a solid 40 minutes of the breakneck pace that is demanded in a game like this.
Well, it's very difficult to rest against Duke because they keep such pressure on you, as you see right there with the turnover by Alarie.
9 turnovers. 28-22, Duke, 3:15 to go. You see the turnovers in this first half. There is that little gap again, and Dawkins misfires. Alarie does not. Alarie right now is just playing superbly. He has 14 points.
David Robinson did a great job coming over, forcing Johnny Dawkins to take the tough shot, but nobody stepped in to rebound after David Robinson went after the shot.
Alarie's their leading rebounder, averaging over 6 a game following with that one. Navy needs a basket. They trail by 8.
They swing it high. They can get it inside to David Robinson. If they can swing it up top, he's got good position.
There is Cliff Reese, who missed a shot a while ago. The lean in, that again is not their shot, but Butler tries to follow. King blocked it, and we're going to have a held ball, and it will go to Navy. Again, Doug, it may seem like an overstatement, but Navy's not the lean-in, driving-type team. They've got to set, square off, and shoot the ball.
That's exactly right. That's why Mike Krzyzewski said he wanted them improvising. Because when you force a guy to put the ball on the floor when he's not used to it, he will not feel comfortable when he gets the area to take his shot.
And so coming in now is 7'2" Martin Nessler. He did not play in Friday's game, but they're going to try to maybe wear and tire Robinson down with his big hole.
He's got a big black eye, too, where he got cracked the other day in practice. Looks like he's got 4 or 5 stitches under his eye. But right now, we're seeing Duke into a 2-3 zone. Let's see if, with Tyler Whitaker being out of the ball game, who's going to shoot the outside jump shot?
Krzyzewski's teams do not play a zone very often because Krzyzewski's schooled by Bob Knight. And he said, we'll try it and see what it does. Sometimes he says it hurts our intensity to play a zone.
I think right now, just trying to get a little rest, trying to change maybe what Navy's looking for.
Reese takes a very difficult shot. He's tried 3 shots, and they've been difficult at best. 30-22, Duke. Whitaker will check back into the Navy's lineup at the first opportunity. 1:30 to go in the first half. Henderson on the move. Rebound, Dawkins. He is such a quick leaper. Everybody's on the way down, and he's still up.
Paul Evans going to the bench right now, realizing with the zone defense they need Tyler Whitaker back in the ball game. It might be a little too late, only a minute to go in the first half. They might not get another possession.
Turner has it batted away. Up to Dawkins. One of the most decorated players in Duke's history. They retired his number. He's won it all this year, and that's why. What a spectacular play. Duke on an 18-2 spurt since trailing 20-16. Amazing how this game has turned around. Reese will try again. He's 0 for 4 now.
Every shot that Navy has taken in about the last 7 or 8 minutes has been a shot they've had a hand in their face. They've had to put it on the floor to create. That's why Duke has been able to run this spurt. They've just put great defensive pressure on this Navy ball club. And Gary, I think fatigue has really been a factor. Navy was really playing well. I thought they got tired, and they've hit 1 of their last 9 shots.
Well, you thought in practice they looked tired yesterday.
Yes, I sure did. I sensed a team that was very, very tired.
Dawkins, he is something to watch. Rebounds his own missed shot, puts this one up, and the first half has come to a close. Well, the top-ranked team in the country certainly has disappointed no one here. Duke leading at halftime, 34-22 over Navy. CBS Sports coverage of NCAA basketball will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Up to a 14-point lead, and there's the shot that Whitaker should have. He squared up, and he had his feet under him, and you saw the end result.
Well, Paul Evans, I'm sure, said to his team at halftime, look, we're not going to beat him with a one-man show, David Robinson. We got to get something going for Kyler. Nice screen off the jump shot.
Allery, that one just find the mark. Whitaker on the move. Baseline, and the man who started out so shaky, Carl Liebert, they'll give him some confidence. He really had a shaky beginning to the game, and second half cuts it to 10. I would imagine Paul Evans was talking about Navy discipline and poise. They lost it there in the tail end of that first half. Here is Dawkins. He can hurt you from every area of the floor.
Vernon Butler was standing there waiting to take the charge, and Johnny Dawkins with a slashing move and great body control just sidestepped him and kissed it off the glass. That's why he's an All-American.
Averaging almost 20 points a game. National Player of the Year on the Naismith Award. Here is Wojcik. He's not the guy they want shooting the ball, and that's going to be a foul on Liebert over the back. That's his third. King has 3 for Duke. Liebert now has 3 for Navy. Wojcik will not shoot very often. He does not like to take the shots. And so what does he do? He has the air ball as they're trying to play some catch-up.
You know, we look at personal fouls against Duke in the first half. They're inside people. Henderson with 1, Allery 1, Billis none, so they can really gamble on the inside.
There's Henderson picking up a foul. A charge, his second. Navy will inbounds. You know, when you're playing a zone, it's awfully hard sometimes to not let a lot of that clock get away from you when you're playing catch-up like this. But Navy cannot afford to ever go to a man.
Oh, they just can't match up. There's no way Wojcik and Whitaker will go against Dawkins and Amaker. That would be a total mismatch.
Here's Robinson inside and have a foul on Billis. Billis reaching in and committing only his first foul. Billis, by the way, wants to be a television sportscaster. Does some of the games on the Duke cable stations.
I talked to him yesterday. I told him to go into play-by-play. Don't even think about being an analyst.
He's too tall for an analyst.
Go where all the money is, play-by-play.
I should say too tall for a play-by-play guy is what I meant. Here is Whitaker at the inbound. 38-26 Duke. Robinson, nice pass for Wojcik. That's Navy's game.
Good execution of a set play. A nice little bounce pass to David Robinson. He gathered himself and got it in off the glass. You know, they're looking at only a 10-point deficit right now. A couple baskets, they can be right back in the ball game.
Wojcik averaging over 7 assists a game. Allery follows. Powerful move. His stock has gone up so much. Many of the pro scouts tell you he's the number 3 forward in the draft right now, and he wasn't even the number 1 draft pick at the beginning of the year. He's come on. He's all ACC as a sophomore, second team last year, and making the first team again this season. Well, they won't let Whitaker get his feet under him if they can keep from it at all. And there's Allery breaking it up, and he claims it was off of Navy, but it will be off of Allery.
David Robinson right now telling Liebert, I was open for the little soft alley-oop pass. When you get it up high and low, look for me floating to the basket because he has his man pinned. He gets Billis in front of him, and then when he swings, he's behind him. He has a nice little alley-oop possibility.
And it goes to Robinson. Allery trying to draw the foul, but he did make him change the shot, and then we'll have a foul on Vernon Butler. Good job that time, jumping behind him, and Robinson was leaning a little off balance and didn't get the shot to go. David Robinson really looks disgusted right now.
This is what happens there. You see them seal down on David Robinson so quickly. They play sort of 3-quarter in the post there. Billis gets up, tries to deny the pass. When the baseline pass is made, the weak side defensive man pinches down. And it's a tough play for David Robinson to make.
Here's Dawkins hitting again, so he's coming on now, that outside game. And now we're going to have a warning for delay of game as Duke knocking the ball inadvertently out into the playing court, so Navy will reload it.
Inadvertently, so they could get their press set up here.
Depends on which side you look at it, right? Billis, by the way, has not scored in this game, but he's collected 9 rebounds. Shows you how effective he can be as he stays tough with Robinson again, but David won't be denied there. Back to a 12-point lead now for Duke. 19 points for Robinson. Baseline Billis, and we have a foul on Robinson. That'll be his third.
Gary, we've done 3 games with Navy in the last week, and this is the first time I've seen David Robinson get caught in the air on a pump fake. Let's watch him. He goes up, boom, he gets hung in the air. That's the first time I've seen him in 3 ball games leave his feet and draw a foul on a play like that.
He says he's really, right now, upset. He was upset a couple of trips down the floor. You said so well, what he does is he waits till the ball leaves the hand, and that's what your great shot blockers do.
Well, I sense anxiety along David Robinson right now, that he feels time slipping away, and he knows he's the only man right now scoring, and he's going to try to make up for it at both ends. And Gary, there's just no way that one man can beat this Duke team. He's got to get some help from his teammates.
Billis, not a good free throw shooter, but he hit both of those. He was shooting 59%. 14-point lead now for the Blue Devils. Looking for their 20th straight win. They lost 2 in a row in ACC play. They haven't lost since. Out it comes to Dawkins. They have a 4-on-1, and Wojcik broke it up. Great defensive play. He was outmanned. Here's Whitaker, and again, that's not his shot. The lean in of Wojcik, that's a frustration foul.
I thought Kyler Whitaker took 1 too many dribbles that time, Gary. He took it as close as he could get it to the basket, and when he did, he never got himself squared. He was floating to the basket, pull up, and use that glass. I think he was just a little anxious that time, and maybe making a substitution.
That's Cliff Reese that checks in. Whitaker with his 23-point game in that win against Cleveland State. It was his 3rd 20-point game of the season, but talking to Mike Krzyzewski, you got the feeling he was going to have a tough time getting a shot. There's a beautiful assist from Amaker to Dawkins. How many guards you see do that?
How about against the zone? He floats right behind it, and the man that he alley-ooped over was David Robinson.
Usually alley-oop to a forward or a center, not Duke.
That's their favorite play, Amaker and Dawkins. They love to lob past each other.
Biggest lead of the game, 16. Robinson has it broken up. Allery is just playing outstanding defense. He is giving Robinson fits. And then comes Billis. So that 1-2 effort inside has made David work for everything. The guy who has carried him all year long must feel a little deserted offensively in this game.
You know, I think that we got to give credit where credit is due to. The reason that Whitaker and Butler are not factors offensively is because Duke is not letting them be factors. Allery, a terrific defensive job. Johnny Dawkins, a terrific defensive job on Whitaker. So they've done a great job.
Liebert, and Robinson tries to save it. Somehow he does to Butler. Butler has his shot changed by Allery, and Allery commits a foul. That's 2 on Allery, and Butler, who usually takes the ball to the glass with authority, you can see is looking around a little bit. He's had to change those shots. He missed it, but will go to the free throw line, as now Bailey will come back into the ball game, and sitting down will be Liebert. Vernon Butler. He's the all-time leading scorer and rebounder at Navy. 3-time All-Conference. He's just been an outstanding player. He was a captain as a junior. First time in 24 years at Annapolis, and then captain again this year in his senior campaign. Solid at 6'7". And he missed the second. Guess who's there? Allery. 7 rebounds for Allery. 46-31 Duke. Duke does it kind of in a business-like fashion, don't they?
They just sort of wear you down. I think they're a team of spurts. I didn't realize that they hit you with such quick spurts till I saw them the other night against DePaul. They really do a good job in the last 5-6 minutes of the first half, and then coming out of the gate quickly in the second half. Those are normally the 10 important minutes of a ball game, and they are super at it.
They're 8-3 in the second half. Billis makes it now 10-3 run at the beginning of the second half. 4 points for Billis.
So it was an 18-2 run at the end of the half, and now a 10-3 run at the first part of the second half, so we can see where Duke is winning this ball game.
Look at Allery hustle defensively. That pass intended for Butler. He had a hand on it. Derek Turner will come in, but right now we're going to take a break. 14 minutes, 19 seconds left to go. The top-ranked team in the country, Duke, playing well. Kentucky in 1948. That's 36 wins in a season. They have really done a good job on this particular play all year long, and very few teams have a guard-to-guard alley-oop.
Well, watch Amaker. He takes it to the other side of the floor, and here's Johnny Dawkins sneaking in behind David Robinson. David Robinson not realizing where he was at, and you know, that's sort of reminiscent of a young man named David Thompson when he was at North Carolina State. That's the only other guard I can think that could alley-oop to like Johnny Dawkins.
It goes back to 1974, so there haven't been a lot of those guys.
Was it that long ago? Well, you're getting old.
Working with you can do that. Duke is 32-11 since the 7-17 mark of the first half. They've taken this game over. Robinson tries to follow on the miss. 13:52 left in the game. Duke trying to become the third team to go to Dallas. Louisville and LSU claiming those spots yesterday. They would play the winner of the North Carolina State-Kansas game in Reunion Arena.
See, Gary, the tough thing for Navy right now is they're not a team that can come out and press you and force turnovers. So it's very difficult for them to get back in the ballgame unless Duke just absolutely falls asleep and starts making a lot of mistakes.
That's the point I was making. You stay in the zone. That's not a catch-up thing to do. Duke right now has this game where they want it. Bailey tries to dribble, and Henderson comes up with it. Henderson up to Dawkins. Johnny Dawkins with 18. Allery with 16 points. The two of them with 7 rebounds each. They have been the offensive force. The 1-2 punch for Duke in this game.
They've also been the defensive force because they've been the ones that have shut down Whitaker and Butler, so they've carried the offense and the defense. Tells you a little bit about their all-around play.
There's Wojcik taking the shot. That shows you how frustrated they are. Wojcik shooting, and the offensive rebounds. Look at this. The rebounds total, 41-17. I don't believe I've ever seen that big a margin.
No, nor have I. And the offensive rebounding, that is the killer because those it usually involve layups on second shot opportunities.
Inside Allery. Mark Allery makes it 52-31. 18 points for Allery. Boy, if you're Paul Evans, you must be sitting over there wondering, what in the world can I do in a game like this? And there's 5 seconds on Wojcik. Amaker playing the good defense. Butler coming in. Whitaker's coming in. Paul Evans trying to find some combination of the work.
Look at Mark Allery getting position inside. I tell you, the versatility of this young man, he can score inside, he can score outside, he'll defend you, he gets to the offensive boards. What a great player.
Paul Evans has had an unbelievable year, 30-4, and right now he probably has forgotten about all those successes. He is suffering right now.
You have that feeling right now when you look up at the clock and you know nothing's going right for you. You just want the time to expire.
Again, they're still in that zone. Also in the game for the first time is Neil Fenton, number 4. That's the 9th turnover against Duke. Bailey will get it into Butler. Butler lean in. That's a charge. No basket. That's 3 on Butler. Vernon Butler was the first recruit for Paul Evans as he started to build this Navy program. He's been such a solid performer, but today he has run into this Duke juggernaut. You can see why Duke has been the #1 ranked team in the country. They have met all comers. They won the preseason NIT, defeating Kansas in the championship game. They won the ACC regular season, the ACC tournament. They've done it all. It's been a spectacular year, but they won't be successful, they feel, unless they win it all. That's the kind of pressure you put on yourself.
They're just using time right now. They're spreading it out, trying to use as much of that clock as possible. Then you get Mr. Dawkins, and he takes it right in the gap and shoots it right in your face.
20 points for Dawkins. I thought Krzyzewski said it well. There's not very many Johnny Dawkins. Not in your lifetime.
I don't remember him missing the shot in the second half after going 4 for 15 in the first half.
Foul before the shot. He has. He's been red hot in that second half. Foul is going to go on Billy King, I believe. Nope, check it. Billis. Billis will be the guilty party. It'll be his second. 4th team foul now against Duke. In it comes Butler. That's where he does such good work. That's one of the few times he's been able to get inside and do that. He has only 4 points. It's his first field goal. His other 2 points coming from the line. Well, They played 30 minutes almost before Butler's able to score from the field. And you think they shut him down?
Oh, you know, I give Mike Krzyzewski a lot of credit. You know, a lot of people feel like that to beat Navy, you've got to do the job against David Robinson. He knows he's such a great player. He's going to score his points, and he's really concentrating on the other people, and I think he's told the story.
There's Dawkins, seemingly always quicker than everybody else. He gets the ball when everybody else is in the same vicinity. He gets it up quickly. He just does everything at super quickness pace.
I sense a feeling of Duke that they're on their way to Dallas. They're looking like they're having some fun now, Gary. Before the other night, we talked about workmanlike effort. I sense sort of enthusiasm come about as they know they're on their way to Dallas.
That shot by Whitaker was indicative of the play he had against Cleveland State. Look at the second half shooting, 77%, 10 of 13 from the field. Well, they don't have to be in any hurry, and I guess Paul Evans will have to decide whether he's just going to stay in this zone or try to come out and make something happen, but they just don't have the quickness to do it. And there is going to be a foul, and it's going to go on Ferry. Ferry committing his third personal foul. Mallory will come back in, and while he comes in, we're going to leave for a moment. 9:20 to go. Duke winning impressive spot will be contested in Kansas City between North Carolina State and Kansas. Earlier this year they met. That was back in December in Greensboro, and Kansas won that game, but Charles Shackelford, their freshman who's played so well, was making his first appearance. He has come on strong. Jim Valvano's team wondering again if there's some Cinderella still in that club.
You have to also think about the win Kansas got the other night against Michigan State. It looked like the lights were going to be turned out in Kansas, and they made a miraculous finish to win that ball game in overtime.
Does that help you sometimes, or do you think it hurts you?
I think it helps you. You know, you almost start looking like, hey, guys, let's just keep it going. We've got things going our way kind of thing. And, hey, Gary, anytime you win to stay alive, I think it's got to give you a good feeling.
56-35, but you'd like to win without controversy, wouldn't you?
Oh, yes.
Here is Robinson to lean in. David Robinson with 21 of Navy's 37, 56-37. Dawkins in the second half. We were talking about he was 4 of 15 in the first half. Doug, in the second half, he's hit 7 of 8.
That's why great players keep shooting. You don't ever look at the stat sheet at halftime. You come out and you say, it's a different half. I'm a different player. I'm going to keep shooting.
And you say, I have no conscience.
That's exactly right. You say, let's put it up. And the worst thing that can happen be that I would miss.
Baseline goes Allery. Tries to follow Doug. That's power basketball. Rebound now by Billis. And Billis is fouled. Well, at the conclusion of this broadcast, Doug Collins and I will be selecting a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team. And Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school. We may have to give it to 3 guys on Duke, where they're playing right now.
21 Joseph.
Paul Evans, who's been rumored to be heading possibly to some other pastures, other coaching jobs. And I think that little shake of the head pretty well epitomizes how he feels. Billis with 4 points, but 10 rebounds and an air ball. Jay Billis has a great sense of humor. He said, you know, they're always talking about Duke being soft at center, but he says, you know something? He said, I have a lack of height, but I make up with my lack of quickness.
He's got some big arms on him, so he can back it up with those games, too.
Billis and Allery, they are really tough inside in this game. They have fronted. They have made it difficult each time Navy's tried to move the ball inside. There's Amaker. Did not see Bailey, and Bailey comes up with the turnover, and off to David Robinson. Oh, he missed the stuff. Butler, and we're going to have a foul on Amaker.
I think that last shot sort of epitomizes the day that Navy's had. Look at David Robinson here. You expect him a little dunk here. He dunks it so hard the ball pops out. And then on the second shot, the basket's still shaking from where he tried to dunk it. And Vernon Butler missed that easy layup. Now he's got to go earn it at the free throw line.
But I still love David Robinson.
Oh, man. I told him yesterday, if he ever needs an adopted family, I'll take him right now.
His brother, Chucky, was here earlier. He's going to be a heck of a player. He's an 8th grader, and he's got the biggest hands and feet. He'll probably be at least 6'10".
Well, they don't want him to grow here at the Navy Academy. They want him to be about 6'6" until he's a senior in high school, get into the academy, and then grow 4 or 5 inches like David.
They had quite a daddy. Ambrose was a 20-year veteran of the Navy. In fact, initially didn't want David to go to the academy, but now, of course, very proud of his son. And, of course, his son's going to be back next year. He is a junior. There's the time left in the game. It's been all Duke. After trailing 20-16, they made that 18-2 spurt, and it's been the Blue Devils all the way. Ferry tries to follow. Bailey will bring it out. And we have a collision. Billis and Dawkins both colliding. Committing the foul is going to be Johnny Dawkins, and the 1-and-1 now for Navy. 17 fouls. Looks like Dawkins may have caught something on his forehead, a little shaken. And so we're going to have a timeout called by Duke. I want to check over their All-America. His first personal foul. 7:37 left to go in the game. If you weren't impressed with Duke before, you got to be today. That's what Johnny Dawkins has done in his 4 years at Duke. He's the first in the ACC who ever scored over 2,000 points, over 500 rebounds, and 500 assists.
Well, he's such an all-around player. Gary, the thing that impressed me about him is he can beat you in so many ways. If his outside shot is not going, he can take it inside. They can alley-oop to him. He gets out on the fast break off steals. He has the whole package.
Well, the thing that I thought was interesting that Krzyzewski said, he says he lets the game come to him. He doesn't force it. He lets the game come to him and take what he gives him.
Well, I think that's important when you're a great player because especially the defenses and the gimmick things that he sees. I'm sure he's seen boxing 1, triangle 2, every kind of gimmick defense. And you have a tendency as an offensive player to get frustrated and try to force things. That's a credit that he does not do those things.
Navy able to get the rebound after the missed shot. Tough pass by Whitaker. Robinson misses it. And he wasn't missing those earlier. Some of the frustration. Dawkins today with 22 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. And with 7:17 between Duke and a trip to Dallas.
Actually, Navy right now playing a gimmick defense. They're dogging Johnny Dawkins man-to-man with Neil Fenton, and the rest of the team is playing sort of a triangle or a matchup zone defense. Now it looks to me like they're going to call it out and try to start chasing. With them being behind, they're going to have to start coming out.
Well, one of our keys was Navy to start well. They did well for a while. It's 2016, but now they're just not a good catch-up team. Zone, they've got to stand for the lack of quickness. Henderson will pop one from outside. Rebound, Robinson. 10 for David, who averaged over 13 a game, the top in the country. Whitaker wheeling in there. He's got his feet set, and he gets 2 shots. When Whitaker's form looks good, you just know that ball's going in. 8 points for Tyler Whitaker. Excellent outside shooter. He's a soap opera buff. Also is the video game most valuable player. Nobody can beat him on this team when he plays a video game. Good hand-eye coordination. That's what it takes, I guess. Well, Duke is doing exactly what they have to do. Just take some time off the clock. Everything in their hands right now as we're inside 6 minutes to go. The tie, the all-time winning record for wins in the season with a victory here as Whitaker tried to sneak in, but he commits a foul, his second. That's a long time ago, Doug. You know what's interesting about that record, Kentucky winning 36 in 1948. They didn't play as many games that many years ago.
You know, for Duke to win the NCAA tournament this year, they're going to have to go 38-2. They're going to play 40 ball games. In my entire college career, I couldn't play as a freshman. In my entire college career, I never missed a game and only played 77 games. These guys have played over 120 games in their career. That's a lot of basketball.
Amaker at the line. This guy, a junior, will be a much bigger scorer next year for Coach K. He has his capabilities, but he's had to take the role of playing the good defense, the point guard, and let Dawkins do the scoring. He has 3 points. Washington High School DC Player of the Year, his senior year. 58-41. Neil Fenton, one of the many freshmen who played in this game, out of Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Whitaker, there's the good form, but this time not the shot. Butler is fouled by Henderson. David Henderson with his 3rd personal foul. Let's talk about this Duke team. They beat North Carolina State in ACC play. They defeated Kansas in the NIT final. So they've got to feel pretty good about the semifinal game in Dallas right now.
Well, Gary, you know, I go on, you know, what teams have, you know, the ingredients to me to be a Final Four team. And I think we talked about it to start the tournament. Number one, good coaching. They have that in Mike Krzyzewski. Number two, they have a go-to guy, a guy who can get them the basket when they need it. Obviously, they got two of them. They got Allery and they got Johnny Dawkins. Do they shoot good free throws? Yes. Do they play outstanding man-to-man defense? Yes. I like the total package.
The total package might win it all, Mr. Collins. 5.5 to go here. For the year, Paul shooting 71% from the free throw line to back up your theory and your point. $5:15 left to go. This is frustrating. Navy had such a glorious season, and yet to be out of this game so early and really not capable physically to do anything about it.
I think they have to keep this all in perspective, Gary, what they've been able to do.
Robinson with another rejection, his second. Then will give it to Whitaker. Whitaker again from the corner. Bailey comes down with it, and he throws up a desperation shot, and he's called for traveling. Well, Navy walked through that Syracuse region effectively, beating Syracuse in the Carrier Dome in a tough game, surviving the last second shot by Cleveland State, running into Duke, the top seed, and certainly no one gave them much of a shot to get this far, and obviously overmatched here today.
Well, you know, I think the thing about Duke is they strike so quickly. Navy took that lead, I think it was 2016, and the next time you turned around, they were down 11 points. That's what Duke does to you. They play you even. They hit you with an 8-0 or a 10-2 spurt. Pretty soon now, you're playing catch-up ball, and Navy's just not that kind of team.
You might put another thing on your list of what it takes to win. It seems like the good teams have those abilities to spurt.
Oh, you know, and you know, when the pressure's on you, can they get it down low and score? And I think Duke does a great job of that. They're not just an outside or an inside team. They have great balance. They can beat you in both ways.
Henderson now with 8 points in the ball game. Inside 4 minutes to go. They're giving Whitaker that shot, and he gets this one. Tyler Whitaker, senior out of Lebanon, Oregon, has 10 points, but they're coming too late in this one. What this is doing for Duke now, they're getting a chance to work on their delay game, which could become very important before it's over in Dallas.
They're also not having to expend very much energy right now. I'm sure that Coach K was concerned a little bit about fatigue when his team went into the tournament. They really had to play hard to win that ACC championship. They had a lot of close ball games.
However, he said they were too relaxed against Mississippi Valley State. Then Old Dominion, they got back to their game. They had DePaul put away. DePaul came back within 6 late in the game, though. Dawkins. Johnny Dawkins, the number retired, along with Dick Broad and Mike Jaminski. 3 guys. Numbers will be worn again at Duke as Robinson is fouled by Ferry. The thing I like about Johnny Dawkins is he's improved every year. The statistics would point that out.
Gary, they do a great job of milking the clock here at Duke. Fenton chasing him around. They're in like a little bit of a box-and-one defense. He runs off a double screen and hits nothing but the bottom of the net. What a great play there. They milked the clock. Got Dawkins still being in a box-and-one and got him the jumper when they wanted it.
Greg Prather has checked in for Navy for the first time, number 14, a freshman out of the Bronx. As Robinson gets a roll. See, Navy all year long has just camped on the free throw line. In the Syracuse game, Robinson shot 27 free throws, hit 21. And in this game, they've only tried 14, hitting 8 of them. So everything that got him here has deserted him today.
Well, Duke did not commit inside fouls. They were smart. They kept their people down on their feet and just forced Navy to put the ball in the hands of people they did not want taking the shots and just couldn't get to the free throw line because of it.
Also in the game is Brian Gregory, another freshman out of Mount Prospect, Illinois. He's number 22. So Prather and Gregory making their first appearance in the tournament.
Navy now chasing man-to-man, trying to maybe create a turnover. But again, Johnny Dawkins off the screen, and bingo.
Johnny Dawkins.
64-47. Little bingo all day for him. He hasn't missed much of anything in the second half. That'll go out of bounds. You know, Doug, an interesting thing. A lot of people said Duke was soft at center and that would haunt him, but you look at the champions, other than '84 with Ewing at center, your teams have not maybe had that overpowering center, and they've won it all.
I tell you, in college, you give me a set of great guards and give me a player like Mark Allery, I'll take you on any place. I think this center is overrated in college basketball. It's nice to have that big guy, but with all the different kind of defenses and traps and all you see, you got to have a good pair of guards.
It's going to be a charge on Amaker. Dawkins in the second half has 18 points, 26 for the game, as the last 2:15 now ready to expire. Johnny Dawkins will perpetuate his career, will continue on. They have a chance to set an all-time record for wins in a season when they meet the winner of Kansas and North Carolina State. The game to follow this one. Baseline, Turner, and he's fouled by King. That'll be 4 on Billy King. As coming in for the first time now for Duke is Weldon Williams. Also in the ball game is Kevin Strickland. And Allery leaves, and he gets a standing ovation.
I'm still looking for the smiles from the Duke player. It's time for them to let that big smile out right now. They're going to the Final Four. They're going to where they're supposed to be. And tell you what, Gary, I never had that feeling. Believe me, I'd be all smiles.
18 points and 8 rebounds for Allery. But that's kind of the characteristic or the personality of this team. They don't seem to show a lot of emotion. They just go out and play by example.
You know, and I hope this Navy team doesn't let this loss detract from their season. They've had a storybook year, gotten to deeper than they should have ever probably gotten, and David Robinson and Vernon Butler and Kyler Whitaker have been magnificent all season long, and I just hope that they don't hang their heads, because finishing the Final 8 on the year is not a bad job.
Tony Wells has checked into the game, a senior, 6'7". He's number 20. So Paul Evans getting everyone into the ball game now with 1:54 left in it. Here's Williams. Williams, an outstanding student, by the way. Are you ready for this? He's in biomedical engineering, something you probably took.
Well, he's from Illinois. You know this.
Here he is tracking it down. I don't even know what that is. Biomedical engineering. Well, what is it?
I don't know.
127. Dawkins doing a little creating as he ducks inside. You know, he's still playing hard. And now coming into the ball game for the first time is going to be John Smith, a 6'7" freshman out of Fort Washington, Maryland. And number 12 is Bobby Jones for Navy. There's Amaker leaving.
For Duke, 33 John Smith replaces Tommy Amaker.
Well, they'll make their 5th Final Four appearance. The last time was '78 in St. Louis, and they've lost in that championship game against Kentucky. There's a Kyle Macy and Rick Roby group. Bill Foster was the coach that year for Duke. And now Robinson will lead.
Oh, he should get a great hand. What a great player. When America finally got to see a class young man and a great player in this David Robinson, and needless to say, I fell in love with him as a player. He is spectacular.
23 points, 10 rebounds for Robinson. And now Dawkins is leading. Listen to this. He leads with 28 points and 7 rebounds. That'll be off of Navy with 1:19 to go.
You know, Quinn Snyder's not played in this ball game. Normally, he's their first guard in off the bench. Gary, he was really sick yesterday with a migraine headache, and he doesn't look well over on the bench. I'm sure that's why he's not been in the ball game.
Yeah, he was lying down yesterday during practice, had a towel on his head, and he's had a lot of that. And boy, that is tough. It's tough to play anything, and when you've got a migraine headache on top of it. Billy King with the tip. 68-48 as we have less than a minute to go in this game. 3 of the teams now have been decided. One more to follow. LSU will be playing Louisville. Duke will play the winner of North Carolina State and Kansas. There's Martin Nestle, who was in the first half, and now we have a foul. Foul is going to go on Tony Wells with 41 seconds left. Martin Nestle is a big hombre. He's 7'2", weighs 260. You can say Billis and Allery and Amaker enjoying this one.
Bobby Bender, the assistant coach, is going back to the Final Four again. He's been there twice as a player, winning it with Indiana and then losing it with Duke.
Look at this, 81-20. Their first year, they were 11-17 as freshmen. And then the pieces came together, and they've had 3 outstanding years, but this is the best one. There's a driving move by Brian Gregory, and out comes Strickland. Strickland will be playing a lot of basketball next year as celebration time, Ferry up and cheering. It's not often you get to the championship game of a regional and have an easy time of it like this. Yet another substitution for Navy. Rich Brennan, 34, checks in. Also in the game, Kerry Manhertz. They can all say they've been in the NCAA tournament anyway. And that's going to be a foul. The foul will go on Bobby Jones. Well, Doug, I don't think we're surprised at the outcome. I think we're a little surprised on the big margin.
Well, I just think that Duke did everything they had to do to win the ball game, and we talked about it. To start the ball game, the offensive rebounding, they shut down Whitaker and Butler. They realized Robinson was going to get his and just pounded the offensive boards. And I think those factors, were just way too much for Navy to handle.
The thing that keeps popping on my mind, as Krzyzewski said, the key is not to key on David Robinson. Boy, he had it exactly right.
Well, you know what happens? You key on David Robinson, and he gets your whole front line in foul trouble. He gets to the free throw line. He lives on the foul line. And you do a great job of maybe shutting him down, and then Whitaker and Butler get theirs, and you win the battle and lose the war.
And there'll be another foul. This will go on Williams. Rebounds in this game. Are you ready for this? Duke with 49, Navy with 29, and Duke had 21 offensive boards. That is total domination in the true sense of the word. They've been a good rebounding team this year, but that's obviously above that pace. 4 seconds left. Is at the line is Bobby Jones out of Temple Hills, Maryland. He hits his free throw. You can tell his grandkids, I played in an NCAA game and scored. An NCAA East Regional Championship game.
And when he gets to be about 65, that free throw would have been the one that won the game against Syracuse in double overtime. The stories change as you get a little older.
He gets them both. 71-50 as it winds down. Duke is on their way to Dallas. The Blue Devils now with a record of 36-2. They've won 20 straight. Navy's season ends at 31-5, and their 16-game winning streak is snapped. What a year it's been for this man. And Duke, can it continue? Sure, they'll anxiously await our next game coming up, Kansas and North Carolina State, to see who they will be playing in the national semifinal game. Dawkins with 28 points, 7 rebounds. Mallory was just superb. David Robinson had a strong game, but it was just Robinson almost against the world. The world being Duke in this case. So a 71-50 count, the final here. I want to take some time now to recognize our outstanding people we work with. Our executive producer of NCAA Sports is Kevin O'Malley. Our producer, David Dinkins Jr. Our director, Larry Cavallina. Associate producer, Kathy Barretto. David Graham, our field technical manager. Bill Linnell and Sonia Dunn, our 2 broadcast associates. And, of course, Mike Swanson, who we always enjoy working with, our statistician for this game. And so it was all Duke. They certainly were worthy of that #1 ranking. A very devastating performance, a very impressive performance as they get ready to take down the Nets. Coming up, don't forget now, the final spot to be determined in Kemper Arena in Kansas City. Kansas, the #2 ranked team in the country, going against North Carolina State, a team they defeated earlier in Greensboro. And Jim Valvano recalling 1983, I'm sure. The year they won it all in Albuquerque. A shot heard around the world when they defeated the University of Houston. So there's still one ACC team trying to get into the tournament field. That would be North Carolina State. LSU representing the SEC, Louisville the Metro, Duke the ACC, and either the Big Eight or another ACC team will be there. For Doug Collins, I'm Gary Bender saying so long for the Meadowlands, where the final score in this East Regional Championship game was Duke 71, Navy 50.
All right, Gary, our Chevy MVPs in the East Regional Final today for Navy. David Robinson, the junior, with 23 points and 10 rebounds. We'll look forward to seeing him next year. And we have co-MVPs for the Duke Blue Devils. Johnny Dawkins, 23 points, 7 rebounds from his guard position, and Mark Allery with 18 points and 8 rebounds. As Duke advances on with an impressive showing today, I think, along with the Old Dominion game last week, their best effort of the tournament so far.
Paul Evans has to feel good. I know he wanted to win, obviously, but they played so well, performed admirably. Today, #1 in the country, the speed, and, of course, the guards. Devastating for Duke.
Now, you felt at halftime Navy had to come out of that 2-3 zone to have a chance. They did not come out of the zone.
Of course, it's easy to sit here and say it. Obviously, they can't play it or they don't play it well, or I'm sure Paul Evans would have come out. But the floor speed of Duke, the maneuverability, I don't think the players or the type of players Navy has can go out and play the floor.
What a tremendous tournament, though, for Navy to go all the way down to the final 8. You know, as far as Duke goes, though, I don't think there's a team left in this tournament that is as cohesive a unit as the Blue Devils are. They've been playing together for so long, and they really are the epitome of what a team concept is.
Well, Doug Collins was talking about the guards. I mean, they're so difficult to handle. They have range, penetration. Against zones, they create their own offense. They do play together. I can't say enough about their inside defense. They're devastating. Front, help out with one another. Very tough to beat.
And as we can see in the background, the Blue Devils cutting down the nets. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll have, of course, the Midwest Regional Final between North Carolina State and the Kansas Jayhawks, who are the top seed in the Midwest. You almost get a feeling that for Duke to make it through the East Regional is more of a sigh of relief than it is of being overly joyed, I guess you could say, right now at this point.
Well, when Coach K went down there, they weren't too happy with him. He struggled early in his career. All of a sudden, he's got to go, and they've been with him a long time, these players. Yes, everybody predicted they'd be in the finals, and now to get there, I'm sure they'll start playing even better. Move it up a notch.
All right, very good. We'll have some post-game interviews coming up as we'll go back to the Meadowlands in just a moment.
71-50. Duke with their 36th win against only 2 setbacks. Mike Krzyzewski is with us. Mike, was suggested back in the studio that maybe this is just kind of a relief that you're really not celebrating that much yet.
Well, we won by a good margin, so I think we're, it's not as anticlimactic, or, it is anticlimactic, I should say, but we're really very happy, very, very happy.
You came in here, and a lot of people say this team is so businesslike. There isn't that kind of extraneous enthusiasm.
There is when we're together. We just don't let a lot of people in on it. We're a very loose group and a group that has a lot of fun, but we just have fun within our group. We don't show a lot of it outside.
Mike, you were trailing 20-16 in the first half. Then you made an 18-2 run. It was a very impressive piece of basketball.
Well, I really think our defensive intensity just picked up immensely, and offensive rebounding. We knew going into the ball game that we had to get offensive boards, and that little guy, Dawkins, made an incredible move. I couldn't believe he did that behind the back stuff, and that ignited us too. And then we got good help off the bench.
I guess nothing should surprise you about Dawkins. The thought occurs to me, these guys for 4 years, they started out 11-17 as freshmen. Boy, what progress you've made.
Well, what persistence. They're a great group, and it's not just our senior group, but the youngsters who joined them. And I'm just glad that our administration had faith in us and stuck with us. I think it says a lot for Duke University.
One final question. Kansas, North Carolina State. You beat North Carolina State twice, Kansas in the NIT. Your thoughts?
Well, North Carolina State would be tougher for us on the boards, and we've beaten them twice, so that's kind of a mental thing. Kansas, I think, has like a pro team. They can hurt you in so many different... We're just happy to be going there. We'll get ready. Whoever it is, we're going to enjoy this right now.
Mike, congratulations.
Thanks, Gary, very much.
Let's go to Doug Collins.
With me, Mark Allery. Mark, I thought the key in the ball game today, you guys really got on the offensive boards early. Just really took it to Navy.
Right. I think the two factors in our game that we've tried to emphasize in the tournament have been our defense and rebounding especially. We kind of tailed off in the rebounding department towards the end of the season. But like you said, I think, you know, the offensive rebounds combined with, you know, a good job on the defensive boards really brought us to victory today.
Well, let's take a look at you here scoring against David Robinson. You're going to get great post-up position, a nice pass, and you take it to the ball to the basket with great strength there. You can really do it inside or outside.
Well, I had to do it a lot inside these last 2 games because I haven't been able to hit a jump shot for the last couple games. But, you know, if we can get our inside game working, then that frees things for both Amaker and Dawkins. And when Johnny's on, we're very tough to beat.
Well, I got this guy here beside me. I guess his name is Johnny Dawkins, and he does it all. But, you know, Johnny, the impressive thing, you and Mark Alarie, great offensive players, but today I thought you were the key defensively. You had the job on Whitaker. He had the job on Butler. They scored 3 points combined in the first half.
Well, they're great players, and coaches told us to put a lot of pressure on them. But not only are they great scorers, but they also get the ball inside to David Robinson very well. So we try to put as much pressure on him as possible. Unfortunately, in the first half, we did a great job.
Now, give me your thoughts right now. 4 for 15 in the first half. You come out, hit your first 7 shots of the second half. Are you one of these shooters that has no conscience? You just keep firing it up?
Well, what happened was in the first half, I felt I was a little nervous taking my shot, and going into halftime was a good thing for me because it gave me a chance to settle down, and I came back out very positive. Coach told me to keep on taking my shots and step up with confidence, and I just did that. Unfortunately, they went.
Johnny, I'm going to let you go right now. They're waiting there for you to cut down the last strand of the net. Great luck in Dallas.
Hey, thank you very much. We're going to need it.
Okay, buddy.
A complete victory, 71-50. As Duke is on their way to Dallas. 3 of the spots have been decided. The 4th to follow. Now let's go back to Jim Nance.
All right, thank you, Gary. In a way, Bill, it was Army over Navy today. Mike Krzyzewski, being an old Army man, and you've known him for a long time.
Well, in the old days, when he was struggling at Army, he was Mike Krzyzewski. First couple of years at Duke, he was Mike Krzyzewski. Now that he's winning, he's Krzyzewski. A little lace curtain, but if he wins it all, they can call him anything he wants.
I still prefer Coach K myself.
A lot easier.
Johnny Dawkins, the great All-American from Duke, cutting down the net, and what a super career. He's heading to the Final Four, and deservedly so. We'll go to Kansas City with some pregame interviews when the Midwest Regional Championship, of course, coming up in just a few moments. We'll have those interviews right after this.